get into those best ofs for sure. But this is a composition. I like what I'm seeing here from Hurricane. The question always has to be, though, can they execute?
If there is ever a draft that CFO would falter at, I feel like it's this draft. This draft combines all of the weak elements that CFO have displayed in the past. Rest going completely side lane, Mission on a utility champion, and an AD carry that, you know, we don't really know what to expect from. So I think all of the ingredients are actually there, and this composition is not easy to execute. There isn't a very secure way to have Mission land on someone. Usually you're thinking about Jarvan or Camille because their ultimates can actually keep the opponent in place, but that's not the case with Lee Sin, who is the only gap closing champion right here. So if Hurricane Gaming, like in terms of composition, if you just cover the IDs and you forget about what these two teams have been doing this entire split, actually give Hurricane Gaming's composition a fair advantage here.
Yeah, I think that's a lot to say, and I think it's absolutely true here. Both Rest and Gemini do actually get spotted roaming deep into this jungle from the ward that Hurricane had placed out here. Question is, are they going to do anything about it? ICU is actually just going to let him walk up. Should just go for little love taps. No, we've got to pause. Oh no, the suspense, it's killing me, Clement.
It does give us a little bit more time to talk about the setup from both teams right here. We did see the Volibear go back just to switch his ward. It's a very common tactic. I feel like that was spotted out by CFO, and that's why Rest is willing to go so deep into the invade, because he does kind of sense that the enemy jungler is just not there. Another thing we can point out is that this is a Predator Galio. This is going to be your go fast level 3 Galio that is starting with boots as well. So we have seen actually Mission play this, and it did not look very good. It was actually terrible. He was
he's
24/7 dying.
It actually makes me wonder why they didn't opt into like a Sivir instead of the Xayah. I think that would have fit this comp a little better.
You mean just like kind of a run fast composition?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I feel like Sivir is just a worse Sari, like a very, very much worse Sari.
I mean, she is, but she at least buffs your team, right?
It's true.
Like, you're not wrong about that assessment. And maybe they just want to give Shun some stage experience. I think there's a lot of questions about what CFO are doing right now. But regardless, the fact remains they are still heavy favorites, but there is an opportunity. So as we get back into the game, we see no harm was done to Rest in the making of this top lane. Meanwhile, in the bot, let's see how well Bang 2 and Enhao can do against this new AD carry. Koala taking a lot of poke to start things off, actually. That's a good start for the Hurricane bot side.
And both of them going Glacial Augment into the bot side, so it basically favors whoever is going to gank that lane first. We have both junglers heading towards the bot side at the same time. Do expect a lot of just flares, sparks to start flying in that bottom lane. Meanwhile, in the top lane, this has been a sort of interesting matchup. Gragas can actually be very impactful. Ooh, wait a minute.
Okay, I'm liking Enhao's aggression. This is fun to watch.
Definitely is. You know, Gragas, I feel like can be very impactful against Gwen's in team fights. If you can completely reset her positioning and she doesn't find any snips, you basically means that she only gets one charge of ultimate. So that's something that we can pay attention to. I feel like Gragas will be the great equalizer in this fight. Again, CFO are the ones that are trying to play aggressive. They're going to try to charge down Hurricane Gaming's composition. An explosive cask could put a stop to that.
That's true. We have seen ICU on Gragas duty before. He certainly knows the carry matchups, and he, in theory, knows how to do the counter carry matchups. However, that's going to be the Flash Zenith Blade as they manage to catch Enhao. Bang 2 flashes away to safety. That will still be first blood on a Mission roam.
That was weird from Hurricane Gaming because they had all of the signs that this was going to happen. They had a ward in the river. They had the pings coming down from Cha-Cha. But for some reason, Hurricane Gaming still stayed, and that's just a easy pickup for Mission. I'm very surprised that they didn't react to that whatsoever.
We've talked about comms issues before. You know, one of the issues this team has is they have two players playing from a different location, and maybe some lag, but they've opted into it. So you have to wonder.
Yeah, it was such a weird chain of events because they had the jungler in the bottom side too, so it was possible that they would have gotten some help from Olio if they could just stall that play for a while longer. It was just way too free for Mission, and that's not what you want to see. And Mission right now roaming the map with Ionian boots too, so that's just going to happen a lot more often. And doesn't look like Hurricane Gaming are really equipped to handle these early mid lane roams.
No, Oleo comes through, tries to issue a stern warning to Mission about that, but he is in no shape to actually try and take him out. So unfortunately,
he is a constable bear.
Yeah, he needs a backup. He needs a backup before he can go for the arrest. A little bit of wee-woo on the chickens.
So, right now, I feel like CFO have so many opportunities to just reset that play over and over again. Mission will naturally have wave push against Cha-Cha, at least until he can get, I believe, level 7 in the blue buff. So he's in a very strong position in this lane, could impact the top lane and the bot lane.
Again.
Have a trade.
Hex Flash out of the bush, bang 2, trying to walk away, but he's gonna have Enhao give him his life for that. Shun, in his debut for CFO, looking pretty good, with a little help from his teammates.
Beautiful stuff from Koala. I love the positioning of the Flame Choppers. Just making sure the AD carry can't stay in position either. And they also force out the cleanse in that trade. So very nicely done here. Already a 2-0 lead. And I feel like we might be seeing even more Xayahs. So far, the Xayah versus Jinx matchup, you know, Xayah does have a lot more ability to kind of trade through the minion waves. Zap and Flame Choppers are... They're not really abilities when you're on the back foot. So it does seem like this Xayah matchup is starting to be the downfall of a lot of Jinx players.
Are we starting to see the bot lane meta evolve over the season? Yeah, like it's not going to be as much of like a hyper carry reset oriented champion, but it kind of does really well into champions like this Jinx. I mean, there's so many tools that you can use to out trade. Not to mention, you know, the fact that you're always going for this lethality build as well. Or at least so far we've seen much more of this lethality build. I think it shakes up expectations a bit from the hyper carry meta. Now Koala, the absolute madman, is going to Hex Flash the wall. He knows he was in no danger, though. Probably gave Enhao a heart attack.
This is the problem when you're running double Glacial in the bot lane. It's basically a gank fest. Whoever gets there first, it's so easy to just find kills on the lane. You get the extra slowdown, and usually these Glacial Augment slows are going to be a two-man slows. So we'll see if Alio can find something here.
Ooh, hook misses. I feel like that gives the game away a little bit, but we'll have to see. Control ward down, so if Koala were to place one in there, he's going to go forward on the Hex Flash and steps right in to Oleo, and he says, wait, that's illegal, but they don't care, because Oleo takes way too much damage on the back foot of it. And now Gemini and Mission coming to the rescue. Oleo looking to get away, Flash wins a war, and he claims his prize. Mission's just such a speedy boy.
Again, it just seems like Hurricane Gaming are not on the same page. Once the engage went down, Alio was just kind of stuck there, and you can see Bangtooth did not want to go in. He wanted no piece of that action. He knew what was coming. It's like, Galio is missing, and they're willingly engaging after knowing that our jungler is here. Something is up.
Yeah, I feel like that doesn't take a detective to solve all of that. So, big lead for CFO. The mid lane gets involved. The jungler gets involved. Mission pretty much just everywhere on the map with this incredible speedy Galio presence. This does actually present a small timing window, unless Gemini steals it right back, for Olio to claim the first dragon here. So that would be a silver lining for Hurricane, but they don't have the damage to do it. I think the game is up here unless they want to fight for it. A smite fight feels risky right now. Orianna Ball thrown out. Cha-Cha has access to the ultimate. If they can do it, the fight is on. That's going to be taken away by Gemini. Shockwave pulls in 3, but they don't have enough follow-up damage. He's so low. Excuse me, as Cha-Cha got the big playoff, it just wasn't enough. Double kill goes the way of Xayah, and they finish up Cha-Cha on the back half. So Dragon taken, traded, 3, 4, 1 kills. Everything's coming up, CFO.
Positionally, I don't even think that was that bad for Hurricane Gaming. The problem was just their bot lane was so far behind. If you look at Bang 2, he's walking into this trade with less than 200 HP. We are going to get some Oscar-worthy performance here. On the minimap, you could see the pings going down, so CFO definitely knew that Oliel was there. There was no way that Enhao was going to try that without jungler presence. And just look at this. Enhao throws down the all the abilities, and Bang 2 runs for the hills. He's like, this is not hard fight. I'm getting away from this one. Mission gets an easy flash-in kill right there, and the snowball just kind of continues. One thing I love about the Xayah pick is just how different her power spikes are from traditional crit carries. She does have a lot cheaper items, as the Eclipse is essentially an assassin item, so you get that at 3,100 gold, and then you also build into the Mirror Mana, which is another cheap item. So she's very combat effective far before the third item in Infinity Edge that we've seen from a lot of carries.
Yeah, it's nice to see CFO taking advantage of that fact and opening up very early on the 9-minute Mythic. Olio going to come up to the top side. He's been a very sad bear so far. Maybe he can try and get an answer back onto Rest, of course, who only has Ignite as his combat, but Rest is just going to straight up walk away from it. So Hurricane having a hard time, struggling to find anything on the map, and Olio steps right into a 2v1. Calls for backup, and that's just going to be the barrel. Tossed out for insurance.
Probably just a little bit too much backup. I feel like ICU, that was probably the most half-hearted barrel attempt. He was probably thinking that Gemini... if you knew Gemini didn't have flash, I don't think you need that barrel there. That's kind of weird.
It's a low enough cooldown, but yeah, it just shows the lack of coordination this team still suffers from.
Yeah, I mean, that was really weird because Olio was unstoppable with ult, so it just seemed kind of unnecessary there, and now he's going to have a hard time against Rust here.
Yeah, he might be able to walk away. No, he has no flash. He's already used it. Oh, he could be in some trouble. Mission maybe looks to come up there. They're going to let him get away, but one thing we haven't talked about with all of the bot lane shenaniganery is how the top lane, Rust has just been amassing a significant gold and CS advantage against his opposite number here. So ICU on Gragas duty is going to have a really hard time getting back into this. Bang 2 already down to half health down bottom, by the way. They're going to try to bait a fight out.
You see Olio.
But this is happening in the open. That's going to be the depth charge, and Shun easily flashes to safety. Olio gets caught without being able to do a damn thing about it, and now it's Bang 2 and NHL running for the hills as Mission looks to charge in. And up top in the picture-in-picture, we see Rest get this dirty farm on. Oh boy. Flashes of last game here, Clement.
Yeah, absolutely painful stuff on the map. That's why I was harping about the explosive cask. If he still had it, he could still reset the top wave and get a clean TP back to his own lane. But right now, in that time, we actually saw another 2 waves of advantages going over to Rest, and now he's taking away the entire topside jungle. So, just haphazard ultimates do cost you a lot in the long run. Meanwhile, on the bot side, I'm not sure what the plan was right there, but I just don't see that working. Not against the Xayah with flash and ultimate. It seemed... I don't know, it just seemed like they were chancing that Shun maybe wouldn't press his ult in time, but that just seems like such a wild bet, even against a rookie player.
Yeah, it's a little bit sus, as they like to say. I'm not really sure what Hurricane were hoping to accomplish, and maybe it's just a little bit of early desperation already coming out here, but... yeah, Bang 2 going to go ahead and complete the boot. Still waiting on his Mythic, of course, 12 minutes in. Would hope to have had it by now, but hasn't really been able to do much. Credit to him, though, for not dying. I do think he's been able to hang in there, but Enhao has bought him a few extra lives at this point. And Hurricane, remember, this is a team fight that wants to get out and fight, but they're going to end out of this laning phase in such a deficit if they don't course correct quickly. And unfortunately, we kind of see Olio continue to have struggles in his new role as ICU, speaking of struggles, forced to dash away. And we've got ourselves a bit of a dive down bot. 4v3. Teleport to try and even the odds. Bang 2 going to look to push them back here. And with the teleport spent, they might be able to get out of harm's way, but I think they're losing their tower. They've already lost the one up top, as Rest is going to cut that down to size.
Just beautiful map movement from CFO. They didn't over-aggress on the play, and they just forced everyone to the right side of the map, which you can tell gives a very clean opening here for Mission to at least take down another plate here. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, they're still forced away from their tower. So CFO basically take away multiple objectives without initiating combat. That's always a hallmark of a good team, is that they can get things done without getting things bloody.
And we have seen this team find a lot of success when they haven't been forced into fights off their own terms. Rest does step a little too far forward, though. But backups are coming, and that's going to force the defensive Stormbringer from Olio. As on the opposite side of the map, they also managed to take out Dragon number 2. We are going to get a Cloud Rift this time around, and map control firmly established for CFO. Ooh, Gemini.
No,
oh, Gemini. Oh, Gemini, getting his style on. With the flank, finds Bang 2, and he made it look just so easy.
Yeah, Bane2 doesn't even bother to flash in that
dear.
instance. He's just like, well, I guess I'm dead.
Koala just says, hey, Gemini, hold my beer, but not even needed. Flash away, Cha-Cha, that's going to be a little more damage on, as the Shockwave whiffs on the Justice Punch. That could have been an opportunity for Cha-Cha to find an answer. He burns everything to not die in that engagement.
So, as we said in the drafting phase, Hurricane Gaming, they do have a late game out in this team fight. I still feel like they have a superior composition in my eyes when it goes really, really late. But it will require them to actually set up formations correctly. They need to be on the objectives first. They need to know where the enemy is coming and deny them with the explosive cask and the shockwave potential. However, in this situation where they don't have any map control, it also means it's very hard for them to actually get back. The only realistic way I could see Hurricane Gaming finding anything is through ICU.
Yep, and Hal going to get caught out here, and this is looking like another quick pick as Gemini tag teams up with Koala to make it happen. And this is the struggle, is that Hurricane, I don't think they realize how fast they've fallen behind, how far they've fallen behind. It's such a massive goal deficit that has translated into items at this point. Going to try to hold the line in mid here, but look at Koala and Gemini. They just own every piece of this jungle. Meanwhile, Rest and ICU going to duel, but there's a level advantage and an item advantage to play with, and ICU burns everything. Gemini comes in for some relief hitting, and he's just making it look so easy on the sides.
Smooth as butter as Gemini collects another kill right there. Doesn't even leave it for his top laner. He knows that Rest is fed enough at this point, so just going to take that one away. But that was a good demonstration of what potentially ICU could do to get Hurricane Gaming back into the game. If CFO do decide to siege, which I don't really recommend at this point, you're just too far ahead. But if they do, then ICU could potentially find a chance to flash engage onto Shun, knock him back. He's the most fed member on the team, and then snowball the team from that point. I don't think Hurricane Gaming have a lot of moves going into the river or just going into their own jungle.
Right.
Their only realistic move is probably to catch CFO when they're grouped together when they're sieging.
One of the issues, though, is Shun always has a get-out-of-jail-free card, right? As soon as he pops the Featherstorm, you've got to burn that before you can actually force the real engage.
And that's why you flash E. That's why you flash E.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that. So, Hurricane, they're going to try to stem the bleeding here, but this is getting so hard right now with 5 towers knocked down, completely unanswered. It's going to be probably more here as the Rift Herald is completely free real estate. Bang2 at least does have access to his Kraken Slayer has for a few minutes. We are seeing the Mythic start to be completed. ICU still hasn't managed to grab it as he's fallen so far behind in the CS game. And, it's not even that he's playing bad, but unfortunately, I just feel like when he's on tank duty, it almost kind of wastes a bit of his potential. I get what he's trying to do for the team, but I just love to see this guy have the carries to get back into it. Now it's going to be, again, another defensive Stormbringer. Olio out of harm's way, but for how long? Not very, as Shun takes him down on the side. Shockwave goes in, does not do enough here, as Mission is just too tanky. And just like that, Hurricane Gaming lose 3 quickly.
Kind of slow reactions coming in from Hurricane Gaming. Olio got tagged, but he didn't move initially, and that was a 5v4 in favor of Hurricane Gaming. They can't find any damage or any focus fire to get any kills. Oh, this is what he needs to do.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Gemini tag team in there, and Mission still stays alive. Meanwhile, the dive into the base onto Cha-Cha. Rest is an absolute madman, and he's just tanking tower shots as he pleases. Finishes off the inhibitor. Shelly even gets another charge down the mid lane. And Hurricane, I mean, yeah, they got late game Clement, but at this point, we might not get past the surrender vote threshold.
It's definitely true here, and if we look at the Drakes, it will be a Cloud Drake, so that's actually kind of nice for Hurricane Gaming. If you're at this point in the game, you see a Clown Soul, you're like, that's probably the best I could do here. Olio trying to get something going, though, but he has no support.
Teleport from Mission? Okay.
He gets away with that?
I mean, yeah, he shouldn't be allowed to, but he is. And he did it in front of a cop, too. So disrespectful.
Yeah, that's just kind of odd. Maybe he was very polite to the police officer, but
he respects no authority.
That was a complete
Mission,
front,
isn't it?
That was a complete front from CFO. If you look at the map, there was only 2 members there, and Hurricane Gaming didn't even bother trying to kill him. I feel like that's just Hurricane Gaming being deflated.
He's so fed too. I mean, like look at his item count comparatively. Like, yeah,
they could have definitely killed him though.
Oh, they could have, but they're scared, and rightly so. Oh boy. So, Cloud Dragon secured. I don't know if Soul's going to come into play here the way this game is going, but Hurricane have to hope that they can turtle it out for a little while. Only found the 1 kill so far this game, and that on to Cha-Cha. There is always the Shockwave threat. That is always a possibility if CFO get a little bit too hyphy and push their advantage too far. Quallen should stepping up to take out this inhibitor. And I don't think they're going to be able to stop this take here. Well, maybe. Nope, that's going to be the engage, and into the Hero's entrance. Combo on, Enhao goes to stasis, but the rest of the team scrambling. For a little bit of relief here, that's going to be the defensive flash from Enhao. And now Rest on the front line. ICU pops the barrel back. They might find the Gwen. Big shutdown. Is it a chance for them to get back into this one? CFO have decided to pull the 180 as they do lose 1. That's going to be the end of that.
All right. Rest definitely needs to get punished here. There is no reason, and I don't think I've ever seen this, but there's no reason Rest should be building a Seraph's Embrace in this game.
Wait. Oh, my. You got to. Oh, wow.
He's just too far ahead. He's like, I better use this game to test out some items. You know, Cosmic Drive is a much better item. Nashor's is a much better item. Yeah. This is just.
By the way,
fun, I think.
you want to talk about some items that you don't get to see too often. The Seralina's Grudge picked up now for Shun.
That one I think is fine since you're going for a lethality build anyway.
Yeah, it makes more sense. It makes more sense. I just don't get to see it all that often. So. Pretty big statement from CFO's substitute bot laner, and you know, admittedly, it's hard to tell efficacy when you're up against one of the weaker teams in the league. But you know, a good showing to kick things off, and maybe we start to see more of this player in exchange for Atlan. I'm curious.
Very good laning sense right there. I think his ability to combo up with the gank pieces coming his way was definitely what snowballed their early game. But now. Can Hurricane survive this?
Rest is just so aggro right now, and I mean, he might go down, but no, Gwen is immune. Shockwave flashed away from, and they're losing health bars. Big aggressive Featherstorm to pick up the triple kill. Can he pull the Quadra? Gemini serves it up on a silver platter and steals it away at the last minute. That is going to be GG. Still not a record setter, but oh boy, CFO get a massive bounce back after a disappointing week 4 to clean this game up. Only giving 2 kills over, nearly a perfect victory.
Gemini welcomes over